welcome to Tuscaloosa, sir. I hope you're having an awesome day.
Oh, I am having a good day, and it's great to be on in Tuscaloosa. I spent some time there, and I've spent a little bit of time at the University of Alabama. And tell you what, it's great people, very, very good people.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you being an ambassador of the game of college football. And I'm curious, as you look back at college football, because I know for us, we look at it as a 3.5-hour Saturday afternoon, but what is the greatest lesson college football taught you about Herschel Walker?
Well, I think it taught me togetherness, that we do things as a team. I remember first going at the University of Georgia, walking onto the University of Georgia campus and listening to Coach Dooley say, man, if we stay together as a team, we play as a team, we do everything as a team, we can win a championship. And that's the way we are in life, that we have to stay as a group, stay as a team, that we'll have our squabbles and fight, but we got to believe in each other, and we can do some amazing things.
Herschel, I look at a football field, and I've talked about this throughout the last 160, 170 days. Our country right now is divided in a lot of different ways. But I look at a football field, it's almost like you don't care about the guy beside you's race. You don't care about his religion. You just have one common goal, either prevent the team from getting across the goal line or you're helping your teammate get across the goal line. I almost wish that we could live like that in our society.
Well, that's the way it should be. That's the reason I've said I think they need to take politics out of sports. Just let the athletes go out and play, because there's no color, there's no anything, there's team. That we are working as a group. You're working as togetherness, and that's why you got to remove that politics. I love my big brother is from Spain, named Francisco Ross, and what's funny, he is just as close to me as my biological brother. And I said, and that's why I met him is through football. Football has educated me. Football has done so many great things to me, and that's what it is. It's togetherness.
Herschel, when you hear the discussion talking about, all summer, and I'm guilty, I'm a part of the media. Unfortunately, the media doesn't have the same term as when you were playing or even 10 years ago. It's a group of, activists is what I like to use the word instead of journalists. They're activists, right? They pick a side, and it's either one side or the other, and they push it down our throat. But all summer we heard how players were afraid to play and didn't want to play. Well, then on that Sunday night when Trevor Lawrence and many other of his teammates, Justin Fields and people here, Najee Harris, and it said, no, we want to play. And the hashtag began to grow, hashtag we want to play. Players that jump on a football field, the fear of a virus, respect for it's one thing, but to hear the word fear is something that I don't think these players really have.
Well, I don't know whether it's fear that they don't have, or is it knowing that they're in an environment with a team. They're in a controlled environment, which is, I think people need to look at that. This is a positive thing for the athletes. You're going to be with some of the finest doctors of any great university, and then you're also going to be in like an environment that is controlled. Not that you're going to be at home or in things in this chaotic country as we are today. You're in an environment where you're on a constant checking, and you have, at the University of Georgia, they scan you before you even come on the field, and then you're being checked like twice a week. And what kind of care, you can never get anything like that at home. And I think the players understand that, and they know that. I think at first it was more of the the pressure from the outside and talking about everything. But as the football season got closer, I think the guys realized we want to play. You can get injured in a lot of things. For a concussion, been going for how long? They've been talking about concussion, but yet we still play. They don't even know the after effect of a concussion, but yet we're still playing. And right now, different scientists say different things. But right now, my thing is let the athlete decide what they want to do. If you have one that do not want to play, he don't have to play. Let him keep his scholarship, but he don't have to play. But the ones that want to play, give them the opportunity to play. Don't take that away from them.
Herschel, when you look at limitations in crowd here in Tuscaloosa, we're going to be about a 20% capacity. I look at that fourth game between Alabama and Georgia. Not saying it will be easier, because when you play in this league, nothing's easy. But do you think it will be somewhat, the level of difficulty for Georgia to come into Bryant-Denny Stadium with 20% crowd maybe won't impact the game? How do you see it impacting the game?
Well, I think it will change a little, because you're saying 20% will be in the stadium, but you got to remember also when you start talking about, you got to give some of the tickets to Georgia. And I think the crowd plays a big, big part. When you're out there playing, the crowd noise and how you have to alter your signal and different things like that. So it's going to be a little bit different. But I think in these times you want to make it different. But I think for an athlete, I don't think it's really going to matter, because I think they're going to get out there and they're going to play hard. They want to win. And, there's two great teams in the SEC with Alabama and Georgia clashing again. It's going to be, I think, absolutely incredible.
Herschel, I'd like for you to spend a couple of seconds here talking, and a couple of minutes. Take your time. I mean, I'm in no rush. If I have to pick up on breaks, connect those a little bit later. But you're in part of a lot of different things that you're involved in, and I know you're going to be speaking on a national platform later today, and we can talk about that. But I kind of want to dive into some other things that you're talking about with your Patriot organization. Can you tell us more for the average person out there that says, okay, I know Herschel Walker as a All-American Heisman Trophy winning running back and one of the SEC legends, but you're involved in other things outside of sports. Tell us more.
Yes, I got into the food business about almost 20 years ago. So I became in the protein, and I do chicken. I'm like a small little Tyson, where we sell in the food service arena, which has been very interesting with COVID going on right now. So we pivoted out to do a little bit of retail as well. We sell to distributors like Cisco and U.S. Foods, and to a lot of different restaurants all over the United States. So I've been very fortunate there. And also about 12 years ago, when I wrote a book on dissociative identity disorder, so about 12 years ago, I started working with something called the Patriot Support, where I go to a military base almost every 3 weeks. I was at a base somewhere in the world where I was trying to remove that stigma of mental health from our military servicemen and women. They are true heroes, and so I was trying to tell them that there's no shame to ask for help. And also the president, people don't know that the president and I, we've been friends for a long, long time. So tonight I'm going to be speaking at the RNC tonight. And I just want people to know President Trump appointed me a co-chairman of the President Fitness Council, which I work with Health and Human Services. But I just wanted people to know the type of man he was. I've known him almost 37 years. I've known President Trump. I've eaten at his house. I've been to almost everything that he's done. And what's so interesting about it is, he's been called every name in the book. One of the worst names he's been called was racist. Well, I think I'm an African American. I think I'm a black guy, and I've been his friend for 37 years. And not one time has that president ever asked me to speak on his behalf. But I said, President Trump, I want to speak on your behalf. I want people to know the type of guy you really are. And so I'm going to end up doing that. So my arena has changed so much, but I think I've been blessed. When I started out, I didn't start out wanting to go to college. I wanted to go to the military. I thought I was blessed to go to the military, but my mom told me if your mind and your heart is pure to the Lord Jesus, it really don't matter about your decision, because God will make it right for you. I ended up flipping a coin. I flipped the coin to decide whether to go to the military or go to college. Then I flipped the coin to decide my college. And I will say that God has been so good to me. We're in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America, and I'm speaking out for it. Speaking out against anyone that say anything bad about the United States of America, about our anthem, about our flag, because that's what this country was built on. This country was built on law and order. I believe in law and order. There's no doubt we can make things better, but the way we make it better is by communicating. And that's what I've been telling people. We make it better by communicating, by following the rules that we have. We go into it and we make our leader be responsible. We be responsible for what we're doing, and we be accountable.
I'd like for you to go back, and I've got several things that I want to ask you about that. Going back to your Patriot organization, if folks want to get involved with what you're doing at these military bases, tell us how we can get more involved and learn more about. There's no way that we can cover everything in a 15-minute conversation, but if people want to go read about it and understand what you're trying to accomplish, where can they get more information?
Well, they can get more information at UHS, University Health Services, and that's out of King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And they have a program called Patriot Support. They're the largest behavioral health hospital in the world. And what we do is, and they can read a little bit more about that. I go into a base, and I wrote a book on the social identity disorder and people said Herschel's lost his mind, Herschel's this, Herschel's that. And what it was, as a little kid, I was bullied. As a little kid, I used to have a speech impediment. I was overweight, and I was bullied a little bit. And I used that anger that I had as a coping mechanism through athletics. Well, when I was getting ready to get out of athletics, now that coping mechanism is going to be in my house. Well, we have young military servicemen and women that go to these incredible, weird places that they have to do some incredible things for the United States of America. And some of them can handle that. Some of them can't. And those that can't handle it, sometimes they're called all types of names. But I'm one of the people to try to help them to realize that they're normal. I'm one of the ones that try to help them to realize that, using alcohol or using drugs or using anger is only a coping mechanism because you don't want to use the problems you're going through, because I went through it. I went to a home in California to help me with what I was going through. I never drank before in my life, never taken a drug, but I had a mental problem. I didn't understand it. I couldn't believe it. Because, I was valedictorian in my class. I've done all these great things, but I ended up having a problem that I had to deal with. So to deal with that, I ended up going to a hospital and getting out of that hospital. I've done some amazing things by having my faith with the Lord Jesus Christ, having him to be my faith and my foundation, that I was able, as I was falling, he was able to catch me. And as he was catching me, he told me that just because he's helped me doesn't mean everything is over. I'm supposed to reach back and help other people. So that's what I'm doing, and that's how they can get involved. It's going to UHS, University Health System out of King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, and Googling Patriot Support, and you will see the program that I'm a part of.
And Herschel Walker is also very active on the Twitter side of things, too, and he voices his opinion. And you can also follow him at Herschel Walker. It's straight up there, Herschel Walker. You mentioned that you supported President Trump. I'm curious the amount of criticism that you get for that. I'm also a supporter, and sometimes it's almost like you're in this current time that we live in, that if you say that you're a supporter, there's all sorts of attachments, names, things that are attached to your name, and it's like, well, I don't endorse everything he does, but I think the majority of the last 3.5 years have been pretty positive for this country.
Well, that's one of the things that people don't realize is that, President Trump, he tweets and a lot of different things, but it's not what he tweets, it's what he's doing. What he's done for this country is absolutely amazing. And, I've called, and, it's funny because sometimes people call me that, they say, Herschel, you're a coon because you support Donald Trump. And I said, wow, that's a great name, because you may not realize, I grew up in a country. A coon is a very smart animal. So it may be somebody else you need to call me, because a coon is one of the smartest animals out there. So that's a good thing, because I said, I want to tell truth. The truth is that the United States of America is the greatest country in the world. And, God has taken the United States of America and he put white people in it. He put African American in it. He put Asian people in it. He put Italian people in it. He put Jewish people in it. He put all these different ethnicities in this bowl, and he stirred us up. And what he came out with is something very, very beautiful, which was the United States of America, that we need to get along. Everything that's going on in the country is not President Trump's fault. It's been going on in this country for a long time. This man has done some amazing things. People don't even want to mention about the things he was doing. You talk about the historical black colleges that people say, President Obama, he was going to do that. You're right. He was going to do it, but he didn't do it. You talk about the prison reform. President Obama, he thought about that. He thought about it, but he didn't do it. And I said, what President Trump has done has absolutely been amazing. And I tell you one thing, and I tell people, don't take it from Herschel Walker. Do your own education. Study it. Go see what he's done. And I said, you will be totally shocked, because when you look at politicians, And I'm going to say some of them. Some of them will tell you all these things they're going to do. They get into office, you don't see any of them done. Think back when President Trump ran for office. The things he said he was going to do, he's been out there trying to do it. What can you ask better from a president than someone like that? And who can you ask to love the United States of America better than the president of the United States of America? Don't do by his tweets. Don't go by his tweets. Go by what he does. And I said, that's when you can see that this guy is a leader for the United States of America. And I said, I'm going to speak truth because I'm not being mean against anyone. But when a country, when one side do not want to mention the Lord Jesus Christ, when one side don't want to mention God, I don't want to be a side of that. I don't want to be on that side because if you're not going to let God into that house, I don't want to go in either. And I've heard things that I just can't believe that some sides say. You're supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to think about law and order because I know in our military oath, they say I would defend the United States foreign and domestic. Where you become a public official in the Congress or in Washington and as a senator, one of the oaths you take would I would defend the Constitution of the United States of America, foreign and domestic, where one of the articles in the Constitution talks about law and order. And that's what we need right now, law and order. And then in talking about defunding the police, are you serious talking about defunding the police? And I said, guys, when you want to win the Super Bowl, you don't go out and defund your team. You go out and add money to the team. You don't defund the police. What you do is you give them better training. You give them understanding. And that's how you make things better, by we sitting down communicating. We are a country that was built on laws. We're a country that have a justice system in place, and we have to respect that. You know, sometimes it may go against you, but that's the way it is. It goes against you, but you respect that. And I think that's what we need to get back to.
Herschel, I got a couple of minutes. I don't want to run you late for anything else, but I got a final couple of questions here if you've got time.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier your support of the military. Right now, we're watching a lot of athletes, and I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I know you had 2 stints there, and I remember just following your playing days there. But I see so many athletes taking the political side of it, kneeling. What's your reaction to athletes? Not that their voice doesn't deserve to be heard. I'm just not sure we're taking the right approach. What do you think?
Well, you know, I don't think they're taking the right approach either. You know, it's sad to me that they're kneeling. And, you know, I've said at the very beginning that, guys, I love for everyone. We get together, we communicate about this, and we take it to the Hill. We take it to Washington. What can be a bigger voice than athletes going to Washington together as a group? Because I guarantee we can change things. Right now, by we kneeling, I think we're separating the people. In the Bible, it do not talk about separation. It talk about togetherness. And as they're kneeling, my thing is what do you want? And you know, I hate to say, you know, they and commissioners in the league, you see where the commissioners is talking about putting BLM here, putting BLM there, and I'm like, wait a minute, you know, BLM, the organization stands for what? Maybe the what your BLM is different, but the organization stands for something totally different. How can you put that on a player? You're putting pressure on a player now because some players may not believe in what the commissioner telling you got to believe in. And now you're separating the team. And you talk about separation. That's not what you're supposed to do. This is a team. I feel that what they should have done is said you go to all their teams and let them meet with the coaches, the players, the front office, and they decide what they'll like to do. And once they decide that as a team, then they go out and do it. That's what the commissioner should have done and not just put it on one person to do it, because I think kneeling is, to me, it's disrespectful. Because we can communicate. We're not a country that if you don't believe in something and you say this, you come up missing. We're a country where you can communicate. You can tell someone. You can put someone in office to represent you on your agenda that you have. And that's why I keep telling people as well, we've been doing this for a long time. You're right. But we never had no one in office to take our agenda to do what you want done. And not just kneeling, not just protesting, you know, and you have violent protests, you have good protests, you have this, you have that. I said, right now, guys, we've got to come together. We need to come together in the greatest country in the world. come together as we are and get this thing done. You know, they've had hearings in Washington over the last couple of weeks. Have they had one hearing over the situation that's going on in these communities? Have they had? No, they haven't, because it seems like they sit back and want people to go to this voting booth in an emotional decision. How in the world can you ask someone to make an emotional decision voting for the most powerful man in the world? And I said, that's what this seems like some people want to happen. Well, I don't. I want people to understand that we have a great country. We are a great country, and let's not throw it away. You know, we can get together with people, and we can change things, and we can do it as together, not separate.
Herschel, final question. I've listened to 20 minutes of you sitting here talking. You've mentioned your faith multiple times. I'm also not ashamed of my faith in Jesus Christ. I talk about it here often. Who helped you guide your spiritual side of that? Who do you pay respect to that maybe instilled those Christian values in you?
You know, I was very fortunate that I had my mom and dad, and I had a family that grew up in the church. And, you know, as I said, I remember when I was 16, I left home early because I was traveling a lot, and my mom gave me this old King James Bible. And she said, my nickname is Bo, so when you see Bo Jackson, tell Bo Jackson he's trying to take my name, but my nickname is Bo. And she said, Bo, you know, as long as you got Jesus with you, you're never alone. And she was 100% correct. You know, I've traveled all over the world, and as long as I had Jesus with me, I was okay. And right now, I just say I credit my mom and dad for giving me that foundation, that I have something to fall back on, that when I get that I don't think I can make it no more, I look up toward heaven, and I know he can do it, that he can do some things that's absolutely amazing. And I think that's what we need to get back to right now. That's why it hurt me when I was Googling one night, and I saw someone holding a BLM sign up, burning the Holy Bible, burning a flag, and burning a cross. And I said, no, we have to stop this. This is not the country we are. We need to stop this right now. We need leaders in Washington to call what it is. We need leaders in Washington to say, no, we're not going to do that, people. This is not how we act, people. And we got to now elect the president. And so we need to put the right person in office that can do that. And like I said, I'm not going to tell you who that is. I want people to decide for themselves. Because what I want you to do, though, is look at who's for law and order. Look at who's going to change things. Look at who's been in office forever and never have done anything. And that's what I tell people is I said, you know, it is interesting to me that right now they don't want God to come in the house, as I said. Well, if God is not in that house, how can he change anything? So I do want Jesus in the house I'm in.
Herschel Walker, this has been an absolute treat to be able to hear your analysis of every different thing. I've enjoyed. I almost feel like I've been to church. So I thank you for your message here. We'll be watching for you tonight or this week. I'm not sure exactly if it is tonight, but you're at the Republican National Convention, and I appreciate you giving us some time. We're going to get behind what you've been able to accomplish on your Patriot side of things, and we'll invite people. I've got more texts in 15 minutes than probably interview I've done, including Joe Namath in the last year, from people that are saying, I like what you're spreading, the positivity around our great country, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart here in Tuscaloosa. Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you. Thank you guys for having me on, and I do like Tuscaloosa, a wonderful place and wonderful people there. Hey, thank you.